Welcome to In Her Voice, a podcast created for women who listen to and live by their deepest wisdom, their inner voice. This was made for you, the woman who feels pulled to more, to lead, to create, to dream, and to be a world changer. My name is Kelly Covert, and I am an inner voice coach. Join me here each week as we explore what it means to reach for your inspired potential, all while honoring your worthiness each and every day. Hey there, this is Kelly, and you are listening to In Her Voice. Thank you so much for being here today. I just want to say to you, happy June. Even if you might be listening to this in December, happy June. Today is actually June 2nd. And I'm so excited to bring you this super interesting guest, Solara Amun Ra. And we have a really fun discussion on being magnetic. It's so fun. It's so joyful. I know that you are really going to love it. And, before we get to the interview, I just want to let you know that I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're listening. And this month of June, I'm actually going to do all interviews this month. I'm giving myself and my voice a little bit of a break from the solo shows, but don't worry, the solo shows will be back. And I hope that you really love all of the interviews that I have coming. There's some really, really good ones. A lot of different kinds of voices that you haven't heard here before on different kinds of topics. So today we start with Solara. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Solara Amun Ra, formerly known as Raquel Vassallo, is your Master Ascensions Catalyst Coach for 5D DNA activation, the preeminent elite spiritual advisor to 7- and 8-figure visionary women. She mentors the cutting-edge thought leaders to unlock their higher purpose iconic work by incorporating 5D paradigms of bliss, abundance, pleasure, and freedom. Solara has a priceless gift to rapidly unblock subconscious and energetic patterns. She is a master ascension catalyst for profound spiritual fulfillment and radical 5D bliss living. This opens up the gateway for her multi-million-dollar clients to achieve their iconic work in their personal and professional lives. Like I said, we are talking all about how to become magnetic. I love that word. I will just say, I am magnetic is something that I write to myself every single day. It's one of my worthiness reminders that I give to myself in my enoughness planner daily. And I really think that you are going to love this interview. Let's get right to it with Solara. Solara Amun Ra, thank you so much for being here with us today on In Her Voice. How are you, friend?
Oh, it's a wonderful, beautiful morning here, and I'm honored to be with you here today, Kelly.
And likewise, I'm so looking forward to this conversation. And we're talking today about the spiritual secrets to becoming magnetic, which like when I first saw that, I was like, yes, we need to have this conversation right now. And I was telling you before we started recording that one of my daily worthiness reminders is I am magnetic. And I don't always believe that. I'm working on it. It's something I have to remind myself about. But I think that that's how our beliefs begin to change. Is we just bit by bit discover what's already inside of us. So I think let's begin with, why don't you just tell us what you think it means to be magnetic?
Yes, actually this, it's been a discovery after being in this line of work for so many years now, and, being on a spiritual path. And so I came up with the top 3 that I love to practice, and like you very well put it, Kelly, remind myself every day, because we are humans living a divine experience, and sometimes we forget that, right? Mm-hmm. So the very first secret that I found to becoming truly magnetic is knowing what your purpose is and living it full out. because there is nothing that will bring you more joy in this lifetime, that will bring you more fulfillment, that will bring you more freedom than living your purpose. And when you are on purpose, when you are being true to the power that's within you, to the gifts that you have, to showing all of who you are, because that's what your purpose requires, people can absolutely feel it. They will feel it when you walk into a room and they don't even know what they felt, but they will turn around because somebody walked in with a certain energy. And that's the energy of really, even not just purpose, taking it a level higher. It is your iconic work, your highest purpose, the thing that only you can do the way that you do it, your unique work and contribution in the world.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And so just going backwards just a little bit, because I want to be really clear with our listeners today about what you mean magnetic to be. And like, I think we all understand it, but can you just spell it out? Like when we start to apply these secrets that you're going to share with us that are not going to be secret to us anymore, what will we expect to happen?
Yes. So I think probably a lot of the listeners are familiar with the law of attraction, which in a way actually puts things out there when they're in reality already here. We just need to become the same frequency of what it is that we want to attract. So when you increase your magnetism, it really is like having two magnets that come together. So anything that you want to call into your life, that you desire to change, whether it is, a simple example would be a partner, right? And it could be a romantic partner. Maybe it's a business partner. Another example would be clients, financial prosperity, health, the right home, whatever it is that, and maybe it's something on a less tangible level. Maybe it could be something that you're feeling a lot more peace, a lot more calm, a lot more fulfillment in your life. You become magnetic to it so that it can start to become your experience way, way faster.
Mm-hmm. I love that. And I mean, who doesn't want that?
Right.
Right.
We all want that.
All right. So if someone is listening right now and you don't want that, just go on to the next episode. But I can't imagine that anybody is going to do that because I mean, I want to draw in what I desire. And I'm just so excited. Like, I'm just so excited. Okay. So the first secret, finding your purpose and living that purposeful out. Okay. So some questions about this because I feel like these questions will come up. Number one, does your purpose need to be your occupation?
Not necessarily for everybody, but I do believe we're moving into a stage right now. Really, we just entered a whole new era, right, with the solstice. And everybody that's here on Earth right now was chosen to be here. So it's really important to know that a lot of souls put their hand up saying, I want to come here right now. Not everybody was chosen. So you are here because you have a unique contribution to make. And for a lot of people, it is turning into their line of work. And for some it won't. But I think the trend is that more and more people are feeling this call once they find their purpose, that it is just so big, it's so joyful to them, it's so meaningful that they're choosing that path.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really believe that. And I think, though, a lot of times when we talk about finding your purpose, it can be really scary for people, especially, I think, people who are maybe a little older, in their 30s or 40s or 50s, who feel like, wow, I've been living on this earth now for decades and I'm still not really sure.
Ooh.
So
I have a lot to say about that.
let's talk about that because I think it's important I think it's important to dig into it.
Yeah, it is. When I discovered my purpose, I can't remember the exact age, must have been early 30s. And it's interesting because I have clients that range from 30s up to 60, and some tell me, well, I wish I would have found this a long time ago like you did. And my answer is always the same. You will be showing your purpose when you're ready for it. It's the same idea as like the teacher shows up when you're ready to learn that lesson or, that path. And so it truly never is too late. And whatever you've experienced brought you to this moment so that you can step into the purpose, so that you won't come to it with fear, but instead embrace it with love. And that's why the magnetism piece is so important, because once you step into your purpose and you say yes, and it can be really scary, and I completely resonate with that, being an architect and leaving that whole life behind to do the spiritual work that I do today with entrepreneurs and visionaries. It required a lot of courage, and at the same time, the magnetism piece that I was just mentioning is that it's crucial, because then people need to see you. You need to step into your magnetism so that the people that you're meant to serve on whatever level, whatever line of work that you're doing, that they can actually be drawn to you and you can serve at the highest level. It comes together, purpose and service.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so to those people who might be listening who maybe feel like they haven't discovered their purpose yet, what would you encourage them to do?
Start asking.
Oh, yes.
It's a really good one, whether you have a spiritual practice or not. And if you do have one in the morning when you're either meditating, or I know you're really big on journaling, Kelly, so I'm sure a lot of your listeners are into that too. You can journal about it and ask and command. I am so grateful that my purpose is being shown to me. And it might not show up in that moment, but if you are consistent with it, it will be revealed to you. And the way that you can know that you're starting to get answers is that sometimes you'll think, oh, this is a crazy idea, but I absolutely love to do this. Then you know, if it's something that you love to do, that you're naturally good at, that maybe you've always dreamed about, but you didn't think it would bring you an income, just remember that you're being pointed in the direction of your purpose, and it's for you to claim it. Nobody else can do that for you.
Oh, I love that so much. And I like that you take it one step further than just ask, because I'm really big on encouraging people to ask the right kinds of questions. But I love that you say, no, command it. Say to your purpose, reveal yourself to me.
Yes, reveal is a good word. And I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I was also in the habit of asking, and that famous book, Ask and You Shall Receive. And then I realized that the truth is all the power is within us. And we forgot that, because actually we've been taught the opposite. We have been taught and programmed the power is outside of us, and we seek for it everywhere. That's why we seek validation, acknowledgement, wanting to be like, etc., all those things that we can all relate to. But the truth is all the power, all the knowledge is within us. And so that's when I shifted from asking to commanding. And you can do that with anything, whatever you're going through. If you're going through illness, any hardship, I've been through so many of those in this lifetime that I've known and learned that those were actually lessons for me to step into my power and start commanding.
Well, and that's just, it's so powerful. Like, it's a very different feeling than asking.
Oh, right. Yeah, I can feel it in my body as I say it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you said that. I just love that so much. So find your purpose and live it full out. Number one. What's the second secret?
Be in love. So I'm not talking about the being in love like when you fall in love with someone, because we fall in and out of love with people. And then if you stay in the same relationship, you have to work at keeping the love, keeping the passion, keeping the fire. But it's a bigger love, meaning that you are absolutely in love with life. And it might sound really difficult if you're going through a hard time. But really that is the secret to being magnetic. And it's that no matter what you're going through, can you still find something that you're absolutely in love with, that brings you awe, that can bring you a moment of joy, a moment of wonder. And one of the best ways to do this is simply to get out in nature, and you will be reminded by that wonder. Animals can do that for us as well, right? They are constantly in the space of love. They're always giving, no matter what happens, right? So how can you raise that so that you are in love and therefore in gratitude with your life? Because gratitude is the currency of the universe. The more that you want to call in, the more you want to up level your life and do your visionary, your iconic work. It is by being in that space of love, because then all you see truly is opportunity. And you start to expand your capacity to receive, your capacity to see those opportunities, your capacity to serve and be in that purpose. And truly, and I'm sure you can completely relate to this, like when you first fall in love with someone, you are magnetic. People look at you and you're just saying, oh, or when you're pregnant, you're glowing. Like, oh, what happened to you, right? And
Right.
people are drawn to you. They see it, and sometimes they don't know what it is. Like, but again, they can sense it. It's kind of like, oh, did you get a haircut or what happened? Something looks different. And it's that energy, that vibration of being in love that truly we all crave. We all want to be in that space of love in all our relationships, especially our relationship with ourselves. Right? Our relationship with our work. So I think that it's creating the space of being in the energy of love, which is a distinction.
Yeah, well, and you know what I love about what you're saying, like what I hear you saying is that all of the things that we're trying to attract to ourselves in our effort to become magnetic it's already there. Like it's already in our force field,
Yes.
if you will. But what we have to do is expand the vision of that force field in order to be able to attract it to us. So when we start to fall in love, that opens our eyes further to what we already have. And I know this to be true in gratitude. When you really steep yourself in gratitude, and maybe it's just a small practice at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, and you write one thing and then you think of another thing and then you think of another thing, and it expands upon itself.
It does,
and
yeah.
And I love that you call it being in love, because that's really what gratitude is, right?
Yeah, and we have to think about it in terms of energy, because as you're practicing gratitude and love, the way you described it, you're basically moving from lack, any experience of lack that you think you don't have enough, or that you can't do something, or that you won't, or whatever limitations come up, which they always do, to if you put yourself in that state of gratitude, you're feeling what you already have, what's already here. And that then immediately draws you to the idea of, oh, if this is already here, then what can I do next? What can I call in next? How can I have more? Because we're wired to want more and to experience greater levels of abundance, love, joy, pleasure, purpose, all of it.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you say? This is a thing with gratitude. I believe that the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. just like anything, just like anything that we practice, the more we do it, the easier it is. But I think for someone who has struggled with seeing not lack, but abundance. And I'm actually thinking of someone that I know personally right now, but I'm sure that this is true for more people than just this one person, but someone who really struggles with seeing abundance. How do you start to shift that over? Because I think that it's really hard to change many years of thinking the world is out to get me and, sort of that victim mindset.
You start with the small things. So, even I've been practicing this for years, and I can tell you about 2 years ago, I got really, really, really sick, and I didn't know what was causing it. But basically, I had a complete body breakdown. I could not leave the house. I couldn't read or write. It was really like a disaster. So how do you find gratitude in that moment? And so you have to go to the very simple things that you can be grateful for. And then you start to build it up.
Yeah. And just every day.
Oh, every day. Yes.
Every day. Yeah.
And sometimes several times throughout the day.
Yeah. Or whenever you think of it. And you know what I love too? You were talking in the beginning about nature and, your animals. I have a dog, Piper. People who follow me on Instagram know that she's like my love, the love of my life. She never gets mad at me. But I think that oftentimes when you say something like be in love with life, it feels so big, and it doesn't have to be. It could be like, wow, right now I'm looking out my window and just like gentle flakes of snow are falling. And I love it when it's like barely floating down, and it's so beautiful. And I can be in love with that.
Right. Because, it's a choice, right?
Right. A moment at a time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We all face every moment of the day. That is our power, that we have the power to choose. And anything can happen at any time, whether it's something small that puts you in a bad mood or something big that's really causing, any kind of strain in your life. And it's not about what's happening to you, but how you choose to deal with it. Because the quicker you can shift your consciousness around it, your energy around it, which only you can do, the quicker your reality will shift.
It's so true. It's so true. Okay. So find your purpose and live it out, full out. Be in love with life, be in love with the small moments, be in love with the big moments. And that expands your vision of what is possible in your life. And what's the third secret?
Create your own rules.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be good. Okay, let's hear it.
So I'd actually like to add a word that I just realized I missed with your purpose. It's really about flirting with your purpose. That flirtation energy is really important. And that comes also into creating your own rules. So, if you are here to live your purpose, create your own abundance, be in your power, and create your life by design, right? Because that is the big difference. I used to let life happen to me versus now I create my life by design. What is it that I desire? How do I want to live my life? Where do I want to live? I've moved several times to live where I want to live. And I've found the power within me. I've found the tools. I've found the knowledge to be able to create that for myself. And so that's why it is about creating your own rules, because that's not what we were told, right? There's a certain mold that we're actually taught to fit into. And there's a progression and a timeline to that. But when you start to realize when there's moments in your life where you're feeling like something is missing, You're feeling unhappy. And if you start to dig deeper and really do the inner work to see, well, why am I feeling this way? What is really missing in my life? I've found in my own personal evolution and working with clients over the years, and it's that they're living according to somebody else's script. Whether it's society's script based in the patriarchy, whether it's their parents' script that they haven't moved out of. It could be a script that they've created with their spouse that they're not even aware of. Maybe it's a script that they've created for themselves based on some story that they heard at one point or some comparison that they've done. And that puts you in, you feel trapped. So that's why the inner work of discovering who you truly are and then uncovering what it is that you desire in your heart. Then you realize you need to create your own rules to make that the reality of your life. And only you can create your own script if you want to live life at the fullest.
Okay, so this is so good. So we're recording this on January 5th. So we're like right in the middle of all of the New Year's, new you, resolutions, goals, all of the things, right? And something that I have been seeing a lot is, this is my body goal. These are like, in fact, I saw a post on Facebook. I have a Peloton, and so I'm like in a couple of Peloton groups, and someone posted about a so-and-so instructor. She's my body goals. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks, like, oh, see, this is why we struggle to love ourselves. Because we try to look like somebody else. We have decided that we're going to believe to be true that in order to be beautiful, you have to look a certain way. And this is just an example, I think, of what you're calling a script, right?
Oh yes, it's a
what
great
happens
example.
Right? Yeah. I mean, and so if we don't look like so-and-so instructor, then that means that we're not good enough, and that we're not in shape, and that we're not beautiful, and that we're not healthy. Like we make it mean all of these things because we've decided that's the gold standard of what is right. And I could really talk about this all day long, and I'm not going to like go into a rant or anything, but I think that this is such a valuable conversation to have with yourself of like, what rules, what script do I want to follow for my life? Like, am I satisfied just doing what I always thought I was going to be doing? Because I think most people find that they're not, right?
Right.
Well, okay, so here's the thing, though, with rules. When you create your own rules, that means you have to break other people's rules.
Yes.
And
let's talk about that.
Yeah, I find that to be really challenging. So what do we do?
That's exactly what will happen. And to take it even a step further and speak truth, you will break the rules of the people that are closest to you because they want you to be a certain way. They don't want you to change. So what do we do with that?
Are you asking me?
Oh, no, I was going to answer. No, I was just posing the question out loud.
Yeah,
but I can answer the question if you'd like.
Please. Well, I think please do, because I think there's a deep fear of disconnection when you start to break those rules and start to become someone different than the people that love you want.
What happens is actually you can experience that in the beginning, but if you really do the work and play this full out, the opposite happens. And again, this comes back to choice. Do you want to live your life, this one beautiful opportunity of life that you have here, according to what other people want for you or what you truly want for you. Because when you start living by your own rules, what happens is that people will see that and they will want to live the way that you live, because all of a sudden you find freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about, for example, the relationships, right? That's the closest thing. Because I think we have a distorted version of what love is that we've seen in the media, in the movies, and a lot of romantic relationships. If you ask people to be vulnerable, they do not feel free. They do not feel free to be all that they are and all that they came here to be. And that is not true love. True love is where you get to fully express who you are and your partner as well. So it's about learning how to have those conversations when you discover what are your own new rules, what works for you, and then finding, asking your partner as well. So that that person can also start to ask these questions. And then there's the union. Okay, so then if we're creating these new rules, what do we want for the union? Let's create our relationship the way we want it to be. And then everyone becomes empowered. The tricky piece is that not everyone wants to do this. So let's say something comes up with parents, for example. Like very recently, I just told you, and before we started the conversation, I just went through a name change. And of course, what came up for me was, what are my parents going to think when I tell them that I'm changing my name? Years ago, I would have had a lot of fear around it, that I would hurt their feelings, that they would get upset, a number of different things. But in this instance, and after all the personal work and my evolution, my soul name was revealed to me, and it was really clear to me that my soul name is who I have always been, who I am, and who I will always be. So it just made so much sense for me to change my name to my soul name, and I'm in such gratitude for my given name and all that it has brought to me up until now. And then I realized this is my truth, and there's so much power for me to stand in my truth. So that is the reminder when you start to see the new rules that you want to create for your life, and fear comes up, the disappointment, anything that might come up that's not of the light, really, not of a higher vibration. It's to remind yourself of, I want to claim my power. This is my truth. This is my life. And how other people think or feel is actually, if I'm treating people with love and with respect, because I'm treating myself that way first, how they feel, how they react is not about me. It's actually about them.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you said that. What it makes me think is, I don't have to ask for anyone's permission to be who I am.
No.
And I think that's where we run into trouble in relationships, is that we think that someone has to grant us permission to change or to be exactly who we are meant to be. And that's dicey, because when we start to ask permission of others, right, we're giving our power away. And that's like the exact opposite of being magnetic. That's like pushing away, right? And we want to draw things in. And I love that you said that. And, a big part of my practice is giving permission to myself. Like, I literally write out permission slips to myself. Because sometimes I feel like, I get into that mode where I think that I need to ask for permission. And what I've come to understand is, maybe, but the only person that I need to ask that from is myself.
And that is one of the most empowering things that you can do for yourself, because like you said, each time you ask for permission, or you're looking for acknowledgement outside, or you're trying to follow somebody else's script, you're giving your power away, meaning that you are actually leaving a part of you behind. You're not being true to who you are. And again, going back to this theme of being magnetic and calling into your life what you want, designing the life that you want, you have to be in your power, because only you can create that the way you want it. Otherwise, it will be created for you and you will not like it.
Right. Like, you're magnetic no matter what. Like, you're attracting something.
Always. 24/7, we are attracting.
Let's attract the things that we really want.
Right.
And not what someone else wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, this is so good, Solara. I just love this conversation so much. And I want you to talk just a little bit more about this idea of flirting, because to me, you know, I've been married almost 21 years. Wait, how long? 22 years. You don't even know. It'll be 22 years in October. And
congratulations.
Thank you. And, you know, one thing that I sometimes miss is flirting, you know, like with other people. I still flirt with my husband and that's fine. But like, flirting is so fun and it's so light and free. And I just love the feeling of that word. So talk to me more about what you mean when you talk about having that energy of flirting with your own rules and flirting with your purpose.
Yes, that's actually the main theme of my book, Spiritual Seductress, the high-powered women's guide to devour the world through spiritual guidance. Because what I was shown was that we can have a central experience of flirting with the universe, spirit, God, whatever it is that you call it. And it is so important that we do that, because that puts us into the energy of receiving. It puts us into the energy of the feminine, which is more about being and flowing and just being really soft. And so it's so important, like you said, to flirt with everything. And let's make a distinction here, because there's the type of flirtation that comes with sexual energy that can, as women, we've especially experienced this a lot, that can immediately put you off, right? Mm-hmm. Versus the energy of flirting because you are flirting with life, meaning you are having a love relationship with everyone in your life, knowing that they are divine, not because there is a sexual attraction. It's the opposite. It's because you want to bring increase to that person. You want to make your life about what your presence means, how people can light up just by being around you. And that is flirtatious energy. Giving something very simple, like giving a very genuine compliment to someone. If you do it in a flirtatious way, whether it's a man or woman, it doesn't matter. They will receive it very differently because it's playful energy. Mm-hmm. You're just doing it to bring something to them, to light them up, to share your joy, to share your love. And that is a very different way of living and of relating to everyone and everything around you.
Yeah, I love that idea of that playful energy. Like, what would happen if we approached life with that playful joyfulness, a lightness to it? I think we would all be more joyful and happier and more vibrant.
Yes, we would. And living our purposes, making our contribution, what we came here to do.
Well, Solara, I am so glad that you came here today to share your contribution, to share your purpose with us, because it has just been a wonderful conversation. And I love to wrap up with my final question of, in your life, what's your inner voice saying to you these days?
It's actually my theme for this year. I always pick a theme, and that is sacred devotion. Because things always happen. Like we've had this conversation. There's ups and downs in life. So for me, it's really about being devoted to my inner voice, which is my truth.
Mm-hmm. I love that word, devotion. It's such a beautiful word to me. It's so deep. So good. Well, so why don't you share with everyone how they can connect with you on social media, how they can learn more about what you're offering the world?
The best way is in my private Facebook group, because I actually love to meet people and see who they really are. Not just likes, but we can actually have a conversation. And I do a sacred teaching there every Thursday. So love to have you. All you have to do is go to thesacredpowercircle.com and ask to join. Tell me that drop me a line. Tell me that you heard me on Kelly's show. And be part of this conversation, this uplifting. This is in particular for women only. But here we are to lift each other up and to rise in love.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will be sure to include a link to that in the show notes, and also like to all of your social media and all of those things. So we'll have that linked. So if you're listening and you want to connect with Solara, you can go to the show notes on my website, kellycover.com, or in the podcast app that you're listening. It should have all of the links available to you there. This has been such a joyful conversation for me, Solara. I just want to express my gratitude to you for bringing this message. I am excited to create more of my own rules, and really own them, and flirt with that playful kind of energy, and just be in love with life. This makes me so excited. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. It was so wonderful to be here today.
I really love the way she talks about this idea of having of flirting, of being flirtatious with your life, with the things that you love, with what you're interested in, because that is something that does feel very magnetic. I remember, when I was a young woman in my teens and 20s, and having that flirtatious attitude with people, right? In a good way. And it felt electrifying. It felt exciting. And that is the way I want to feel about my life and all of the connections in it. So I really hope that you're able to take away from this conversation a true feeling of power, of personal power, when it comes to understanding your purpose and really attracting to you the things that you most want. I truly believe that practices are the key to that. Habits, kinder habits that we do day after day after day, are the things that bring to us and help us shift our belief of who we are and what we deserve in life. And the way that I like to do that is to use the Enoughness Planner, which is something that I wrote for you and for me, a planner that you can really practice kinder habits, that you can keep track, that you can remind yourself of who you are each and every day. And if this is something that you would like to have in your life, I encourage you to go to my website and check it out, kellycover.com/enoughness. This is a planner, a physical book that you can buy right on Amazon. And that link will take you there. And remember that every time you purchase an Enoughness planner or anything from my website, you are directly supporting me. And I want to say thank you for doing that, because that is part of my purpose as well. And I appreciate your support every single day. Above all else, I want you to know that you matter. You are enough today and every day. You are worthy.